Admiral Sarah Chen stood in her command center, watching the red warning lights flash across every screen. The message from Council Prime had arrived 30 minutes ago. She had read it 12 times, but the words still felt like ice in her chest. Humanity is no longer welcome in the Galactic Council. All support ends now. You have 48 hours to return all Council technology and leave Council space. 50 years. 50 years of serving the galaxy. 50 years of sending human soldiers to die in Council wars. 50 years of sharing Earth's resources, knowledge, and hope with species that now threw them away like garbage. The communication officer turned in his chair. Admiral, we're getting reports from all the outer colonies. Vrex ships everywhere. They're not responding to our calls. Sarah closed her eyes. The Vrex Imperium had been at war with the Council for decades. Brutal, efficient killers who took worlds like a disease takes a body. The Council had always promised to protect human space. Now those same Council ships were pulling back, leaving the colonies naked and alone. How many people? She asked. 12 million on New Geneva. 8 million on Kepler Station, 5 million on total. The officer's voice cracked. 47 million, Admiral, in the outer colonies. Sarah's hands gripped the rail in front of her. 47 million human lives. Children playing in dome cities, farmers growing food in alien soil, scientists studying new worlds. All of them about to face the Vrex alone. What about our defense fleets? The Council recalled them. 3 days ago, said they needed them for strategic repositioning. Our requests for information were denied. 3 days ago, the Council had known this was coming for 3 days and said nothing. They had pulled Earth's defenders away and left the colonies, open like a door in a storm. The main screen lit up with an incoming transmission. The symbol of the Galactic Council appeared, followed by the face of High Counselor Vextai. The alien's 3 eyes showed no emotion as it spoke. Admiral Chen, I trust you have received our communication regarding humanity's new status. You mean our expulsion, Sarah said, her voice steady despite the rage building inside her. A necessary decision for galactic stability. The Vrex have agreed to cease hostilities in exchange for human territories. The mathematics are simple. 47 million human lives versus billions across the galaxy. The choice was obvious. Sarah stared at the screen. You sold us. You sold us to save yourselves. We made a practical decision. Humanity has always been too aggressive, too unpredictable. Your species challenges established order. The Vrex wanted your colonies, and frankly, many Council members believe the galaxy will be more stable without human interference. And our people? The families on those worlds? Vextai's middle eye blinked slowly. The Vrex have assured us they will treat human populations according to their customs. Sarah knew what Vrex customs meant. Slavery for the useful ones, death for the rest. She had seen the reports from their conquered worlds. The Council knew. 2. You have 48 hours to comply with our terms, Vextai continued. Return all Council technology, withdraw to your solar system, and remain there. Any attempt to interfere with Vrex operations will be considered an act of war against the entire Council. The transmission ended. Sarah stood in silence for a long moment. Around her, the bridge crew waited. Some had tears in their eyes. Others showed the cold anger she felt burning in her own chest. Admiral, the communications officer said quietly, we're getting emergency signals from New Geneva. Put it through. The screen showed Colonel Martinez, commander of New Geneva's Defense Force. His face was covered in dust and blood. Behind him, the sky burned red. "Admiral, they're landing troops everywhere. We can't hold them. The civilians—" An explosion cut off his words. When the image cleared, he was back. "They're targeting the schools first, the hospitals. They want to break us fast." "How long can you hold?" "Maybe 6 hours. Maybe less." "Admiral, my daughter is in the primary school. She's 8 years old. Please." Another explosion. The transmission went dead. Sarah turned to her tactical officer. "How long to reach New Geneva?" 18 hours at maximum speed, Admiral, but we only have 3 ships in range. 3 ships against a Vrex invasion fleet. It would be suicide. But those were her people down there. Human children hiding in schools while monsters landed around them. "Admiral," her executive officer said carefully. The council was clear. "Any interference would be an act of war," Sarah finished, "against a council that just threw us to the wolves to save themselves." She walked to the Central Command console and activated the fleet-wide communication system. Every human ship in space would hear this. Every colony, every station, every outpost. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen speaking to all human forces. 1 hour ago, the Galactic Council expelled humanity from their alliance. They have given our colonies to the Vrex Imperium in exchange for peace. As I speak, Vrex forces are attacking our people, killing our children. The Council considers this acceptable." She paused, looking at the faces around her. Good people, brave people, people who had served the galaxy with honor and received betrayal in return. For 50 years, we believed in the Council's vision of peace. We shared our technology, our resources, our lives. We fought their wars and died for their causes. We thought we were building something together. We were wrong. Another pause. On the screens around her, she could see reports flooding in. Colony after colony going dark. Distress signals cut short. The systematic destruction of everything humanity had built among the stars. The Council has made their choice. They have shown us exactly how much human life is worth to them. Nothing. We are nothing to them. Tools to be used and thrown away. When convenient. Her voice grew harder. If they want us gone, we'll leave. All of us, every human ship, every colony, every outpost. We'll take our people and go, but we won't go quietly, and we won't go begging. She looked directly into the camera now, knowing her words would reach every human in space. We trusted them once. We gave them everything we had. They betrayed us. They will never get the chance to betray us again. Around the bridge, her crew straightened. The despair in their eyes was changing to something else, something colder and more determined. All ships are to begin immediate evacuation of human civilians from threatened colonies. We save who we can. Those we can't save. Sarah's voice caught for just a moment. Those we can't save, we remember. Every name, every face, every child. She turned to her navigation officer. Set course for Earth. Maximum speed. Admiral, what about the Council's deadline? The technology they want returned? Sarah smiled, but there was no warmth in it. They'll get their technology back. Every bit of it. But not the way they expect. As her ship turned toward home, Sarah looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human families were dying because the galaxy had decided their lives didn't matter. The Council thought they could use humanity and discard them when it was convenient. They would learn how wrong they were. Humanity was leaving, but they would make sure the galaxy never forgot what they had lost, what they had thrown away, what they had chosen to destroy. The stars seemed colder now, less welcoming. But that was fine. Humanity would find their own way among them. And when they did, the galaxy would understand the true cost of their betrayal. Dr. Marcus Webb stood in the deepest laboratory on Earth, 2 miles beneath the Swiss mountains. Around him, machines hummed with power that made the air itself taste of metal and ozone. He had not slept in 36 hours, but his eyes were bright with the fire of discovery. 2 years had passed since the Council's betrayal. 2 years since the Vracs had taken the outer colonies. 2 years since humanity learned that trust was a luxury they could not afford. Now, in the hidden depths of Earth, they were preparing to do something the galaxy had never seen. "Dr. Webb, the Council observer is here," his assistant said. Marcus nodded. They had been expecting this visit. The Council was nervous. They should be. The door opened, and Ambassador Kithan entered. The tall, thin alien moved carefully, as if the very air around him might be dangerous. His 4 arms gestured nervously as he spoke. "Dr. Webb, the Council is concerned about the energy readings from this facility. What exactly are you building? Here?" Marcus smiled. "Freedom, Ambassador. We're building freedom." That is not an answer. The Council has a right to know what weapons humanity is developing. "Weapons?" Marcus laughed, but the sound was cold. "We're not building weapons. We're building something much more important. We're building a way out." Kithan's eyes narrowed. "Out of what?" "Out of here. Out of this reality. Out of your reach forever." The alien stepped back. "Explain." Marcus gestured to the massive machines around them. Cables thick as trees carried power between towers that reached toward the ceiling. At the center of it all, a sphere of perfect black hung in the air, held by fields that bent light around their edges. "For 50 years you taught us about space travel, about the dimensions that let ships move faster than light, about time and gravity and the forces that hold the universe together. You thought you were giving us gifts. You were, just not the gifts you intended." Marcus walked to a control panel and activated a holographic display. The image showed Earth's solar system, but wrong somehow. The planets moved in stuttering, jerky motions, as if reality itself was having trouble keeping up. "You see, Ambassador, you missed something important about humans. We don't just learn what you teach us. We improve it. We push it further. We ask questions you never thought to ask." "What questions?" "Like this one. If consciousness can observe reality, can it also change reality? And if so, what happens when you remove all the observers from a piece of space-time?" Kithan stared at the display. "That is not possible, isn't it?" Marcus touched another control and the image zoomed out. Now it showed not just Earth's system, but the space around it for dozens of light years. And that space was empty. Not empty of matter, but empty of meaning. Stars existed there. Planets orbited, but they seemed flat somehow, like pictures instead of real things. Time isn't just the 4th dimension, Ambassador. It's the dimension that gives meaning to the other 3. Past, present, future, these aren't just measurements. They're the story that consciousness tells about reality. Take away the consciousness, take away the observers, and the story stops being told. The alien's voice was barely a whisper. "What have you done?" "Nothing yet, but we're going to. Every human ship. Every station, every person, we're leaving, all of us, at the same time. And when we go, we're taking something with us that you never realized we had." "Which is?" Marcus's smile was gentle now, almost sad. "The ability to experience linear time. You see, most species in the galaxy experience time differently than humans do. You see it as a river you can swim in, moving backward and forward as you choose. You remember the future as clearly as the past. But humans? We experience time as an arrow, always forward, always in sequence, always building cause and effect, moment by moment. He gestured to the machines around them. For 2 years we've been studying this. We've learned that consciousness doesn't just observe reality, it creates it. And human consciousness, with our stubborn insistence on linear causality, has been unconsciously holding the timeline together, keeping cause and effect working properly, making sure that when something happens, it happened for a reason. Kit Hand's forearms trembled. You cannot be serious. We are completely serious. Watch. Marcus activated another display. This one showed a recording from yesterday, a simple scene, a human child dropping a ball. The ball fell down, bounced 3 times and rolled to a stop. Normal physics, normal causality. Then he showed the same scene from this morning. The child dropped the ball. The ball fell up. No, it fell down and up at the same time. No, it never fell at all. It was always on the ground. The recording flickered between these possibilities, unable to decide which version was real. That child left Earth this morning, Marcus said quietly, emigrated to one of our colony ships in the outer system, and reality can't quite remember how physics is supposed to work without human minds there to insist on it. The ambassador staggered backward. This is madness. You will destroy everything. Will we? Marcus asked. Or will we finally be free? Free from councils that betray us. Free from aliens who see us as tools. Free from a galaxy that uses us and throws us away. He walked to the central sphere, the black heart of the machine. In 6 hours, every human in existence will step into machines like this one. We'll translate ourselves out of this reality and into something new. Somewhere the Council can never reach us. Somewhere we can build what we choose to build without interference. But the timeline will collapse, Marcus finished. Yes, slowly at first. The areas where humans lived will start to forget their own past. Cause and effect will become negotiable. History will become uncertain. And it will spread outward from there, growing faster as it goes. Kit Han's voice was desperate now. You cannot do this. Billions will die when reality breaks down. Marcus turned to face him, and for the first time, the alien saw the depth of human pain in his eyes, the grief of betrayal, the rage of abandonment, the cold calculation of a species that had been pushed too far. Billions already died when you handed us to the Vrex. Children burned alive in schools while you signed peace treaties. Families torn apart while you calculated acceptable losses. You taught us that life has no value if it's inconvenient to the powerful. He gestured around the laboratory. This is your lesson, Ambassador, applied perfectly. We're making a practical decision. Human survival versus galactic stability. The mathematics are simple, just like you taught us. The ambassador fell to his knees. Please, there must be another way. There was, Marcus said sadly. There was a way where we stayed, where we helped hold your galaxy together, where we served and protected and built something beautiful together. You chose differently. He began walking toward his own translation chamber, a smaller version of the Great Sphere. You made it very clear that humanity has no place in your galaxy. So we're leaving. All of us. And since you never valued what we brought to the table, you won't miss what goes with us. What about the colonies? The humans who are already gone? Marcus paused at the chamber door. They're waiting for us, outside of time, outside of space, in a place we've built just for us. When the last human on Earth steps through, we'll all be together again. Every person the Vrex killed, every child who died in your betrayal. They're already there, waiting to see what we build next. The chamber door began to close. Tell the Council something for me, Ambassador. Tell them we left them a gift. In 12 hours, when the timeline collapse reaches Council space, they'll learn exactly how much work consciousness really does. They'll learn what it means to hold reality together by sheer force of will. The door sealed with a soft click. Kit Han knelt alone in the laboratory as the great machines powered down around him. In the distance, he could hear the sound of humanity leaving. Ships launching, stations going dark. The quiet hum of 8 billion people stepping out of reality itself. On the screens around him, warnings flashed in a dozen languages. Timeline. Instability detected. Causality errors increasing. Reality coherence falling. And in the growing silence, a message began broadcasting on every frequency. The last words humanity would speak to the galaxy that had abandoned them. We told you no one would come back. We meant it. Even we can't return to what we were. Take care of what we left behind. You're going to need to learn how to do it yourselves. The machines went dark. The laboratory fell silent. Humanity was gone. Council researcher HFY floated in the observation deck of the science vessel Eternal Truth, staring at the place where Earth used to be. 5 years had passed since humanity's disappearance, and the solar system hung in space like a wound that refused to heal. Computer, show me the Sol system records from before the human departure, she said. The holographic display flickered to life, showing a vibrant yellow star surrounded by 9 planets. Orbital stations dotted the space between worlds. Traffic, lanes marked with the constant flow of ships, a living system full of activity and purpose. Now show me current scans. The display updated. The star was still there. The planets still orbited in their ancient paths, but everything else was wrong. The space between worlds felt empty, in a way that had nothing to do with the absence of ships. It was as if the very concept of between had become uncertain. Computer, how many planets in the Sol system? Scanning. Unable to determine. Data is contradictory. HFY's tentacles twisted with frustration. This was the problem they faced. Everywhere humanity had once lived. Reality itself could not agree on basic facts. Sometimes the sensors showed 9 planets, sometimes 8. Once, memorably, the system had briefly contained 14 worlds that had never existed before and vanished again an hour later. Dr. HFY, came a voice from behind her. She turned to see Captain Mordun entering the observation deck. The massive warrior's usual confidence was missing, replaced by the same unease they all felt in this place. Captain, what news from the probe teams? They're confused, Mordun said carefully. Team 3 landed on the 4th planet successfully. They report a dead world, no signs of human habitation. But Team 5 says the 4th planet has cities. Empty cities with no signs they were ever abandoned. And Team 7 insists there is no 4th planet at all. HFY's research organs pulsed with interest and worry. All teams are using the same scanning equipment? Identical. And Doctor, that's not the strangest part. When we tried to coordinate between teams, we found that they're not just seeing different things. They're seeing different histories. Team 3 says this system was never inhabited by humans. Team 5 has records of a great civilization that lasted 1,000 years. Team 7's computers show no records of humans ever existing. The researcher moved to her instruments, checking readings that made less sense each day. The temporal distortion is accelerating, isn't it? Yes, and spreading. The anomaly zone has grown again. It now reaches 30 light-years from Sol in all directions. Everything inside it is becoming unstable. HFY brought up a galactic map. A red zone marked the area where cause and effect no longer worked properly, where ships sent distress, calls before they encountered danger, where planets forgot their own geological history, where stars burned with light that had no source. Show me the latest reports from the edge zones. The display filled with incident reports, trade ships that arrived at their destinations before they departed, communication delays that worked backward, with replies coming before messages were sent. Space stations that existed on Monday had never been built on Tuesday and were ancient. Ruins on Wednesday. The Vrex territories are the worst affected, Morden said grimly. The worlds they took from humanity are unstable. Their conquest fleets keep arriving to invade planets they've already conquered. Their commanders receive victory reports for battles that haven't happened yet. Serves them right, HFY muttered, then immediately felt ashamed. The breakdown of causality was affecting innocent civilians, too. Vrex children who couldn't understand why their toys sometimes unbuilt themselves. Vrex farmers who planted crops that grew backward into seeds. Doctor, there's something else. The Council wants a full report on your findings. They're scared. They should be. HFY manipulated her controls, bringing up her research data. Captain, do you understand what consciousness really does? Morden's warrior training had not prepared him for this kind of discussion. It thinks? More than that, it observes. It creates meaning from chaos. When you look at a star, your mind doesn't just see light. It creates the concept of star from that light. It builds causality. It insists that the light comes from the star because the star is burning. Your consciousness takes random events and forces them into a story that makes sense. She manipulated the display, showing a simple diagram of cause and effect. Most species do this unconsciously. You see something happen, and your mind automatically creates the why behind it. But humans were different. Their consciousness was particularly good at creating linear causality. They experienced time as a strict sequence: cause, then effect, then consequence. Always in order, always building on what came before. And without them, the universe is forgetting how to tell time. HFY's voice grew heavy with the weight of discovery. Every moment requires observers to give it meaning. Every event needs conscious minds to place it in sequence with other events. Human minds were particularly good at this job. They were like temporal anchors, keeping the flow of time steady and predictable. Morden stared at the readings. How long before it reaches Council space? At current expansion rates? 2 years. Maybe less. And when it does? HFY was quiet for a long moment. Outside the observation deck, space looked normal. Stars burned with steady light. The ship moved through vacuum as ships always had. But she knew it was an illusion. Reality was only holding together through the conscious effort of the crew aboard their ship. When they left, this space would forget how physics worked. When it reaches Council space, we'll learn exactly how much work consciousness really does, she said finally. We'll find out what happens when an entire galaxy has to hold reality together by force of will instead of taking it for granted. Can we evacuate the affected zones? Evacuate to where? Captain, this isn't like a natural disaster. When the temporal collapse reaches a system, it doesn't just affect that system, it affects the history of that system. Ships that evacuated find they never had anywhere to evacuate from. Refugees arrive at relief centers that never had any reason to exist. The captain's hands gripped the observation rail. There has to be something we can do, some way to fix this. Maybe. HFY brought up another display, this one showing the energy patterns at the edge of the anomaly zone. I've been studying the border regions, places where the breakdown is just beginning, and I found something interesting. The display showed a space station at the very edge of the affected area. Half of it existed normally. The other half flickered between different versions of itself. Sometimes new, sometimes ancient, sometimes never built at all. The breakdown isn't random, she continued. It follows specific patterns. It's almost as if reality is trying to maintain stability but doesn't know how. Like a machine running without an operator. What does that mean? It means the universe wants to work properly. It just needs guidance. Conscious minds that can do what human minds did automatically. Minds that can insist on linear causality and make it stick. Morden's eyes widened. You're talking about replacing humanity? Not replacing. Substituting. If we could learn to experience time the way humans did, if we could train our consciousness to create the same kind of temporal stability they provided naturally. The Council will never agree to that. To change the fundamental way our minds work, HFY turned back to the window, looking out at the space where Earth once spun. They'll have to, because the alternative is watching reality itself dissolve into chaos. And Captain, there's one more thing. Something I haven't told anyone yet. What? I've been monitoring quantum fluctuations throughout the affected zones, and I'm detecting patterns, messages, encoded in the structure of space-time itself, left behind by humanity before they departed. Morden moved closer. What do the messages say? Instructions. Mathematical frameworks. Blueprints for consciousness modification. They knew this would happen, Captain. They knew exactly what their departure would do to the galaxy. And they left us a way to fix it. Why would they do that? After what we did to them? HFY's research. Organs pulsed with something that might have been admiration. Because despite everything, they're still human, still trying to help, still hoping we can learn to be better than we were. She touched the controls again, and the display showed one final image. A message, written in mathematical symbols that somehow conveyed meaning beyond mere numbers. We told you no one would come back. We meant it. But we also told you to take care of what we left behind. This is how. Learn to see time as we did. Learn to hold causality together through will and hope and stubborn determination. Learn to be the observers the universe needs, or watch it all fall apart. The choice is yours. It always was. Outside the ship, reality flickered once and stabilized. For now, Captain Veldtar stood on the bridge of the Council's most advanced exploration vessel, the Dimensional Seeker. Around her, the best scientists and explorers from 50 different species worked at stations that hummed with power beyond anything the galaxy had built before. Their mission was simple in words, but impossible in practice. Find humanity and bring them back before reality collapsed completely. "Status report," she called out. "We're approaching the dimensional anchor point," replied Dr. Kessestol, the expedition's chief physicist. Quantum resonance patterns suggest human passage through this region approximately 7 years ago. 7 years. That was 2 years before humanity's mass departure from normal space-time. They had been preparing for longer than anyone realized. Put it on the main screen. The view screen showed what looked like empty space, but Veltar's trained. I could see the signs. Space here was wrong. Not visibly, but fundamentally. Light moved in curves that had no cause. Gravity pulled in directions that shouldn't exist. And through it all, the faint signature of human technology. They were testing their translation methods here, said Dr. Yilmoth, the team's specialist in alternate realities. See these quantum scars? They're from multiple attempts to breach dimensional barriers. The humans were learning how to step outside of our universe entirely. Veltar nodded grimly. The past 3 years had been a nightmare of searching. Every lead humanity had left behind took them deeper into concepts that challenged everything the Council thought they knew about reality. Pocket dimensions, parallel timelines, universes where the laws of physics worked differently. And through it all, signs that humanity had not just stumbled into these places, but had learned to navigate them with growing skill. Dr. Kessetol, what about the message fragments we detected last week? The physicist manipulated his controls, and the main screen filled with equations written in mathematical languages that hurt to look at. We found them embedded in the quantum structure of a collapsed star in the Vega system. Definitely human in origin, but the mathematics... Captain, they're describing technologies that shouldn't be possible. Show me. The equations shifted and flowed, describing machines that could exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Consciousness transfer techniques that allowed beings to observe all possible timelines at once. Most disturbing of all, methods for stepping so far outside of normal space-time that return became impossible. They're not just hiding from us, Dr. Yilmoth said quietly. They're transforming themselves into something we can barely comprehend. But they're still human, aren't they? The question hung in the air unanswered. Over the past 3 years, the search teams had found traces of humanity in dozens of parallel universes, abandoned research stations in dimensions where time moved backward, quantum signatures in realities where consciousness and matter were the same thing, mathematical proofs written in languages that existed only in universes where math itself was alive. Captain, the communications officer called out, we're receiving a transmission. It's strange. Strange how? It's coming from everywhere at once, and it's not being sent to us specifically. It's more like we're overhearing a conversation. Put it through. The bridge filled with static, then slowly resolved into voices. Human voices, but changed somehow. Speaking in harmonies that suggested multiple people sharing the same thoughts. The search teams are getting closer, one voice said. Should we help them? Asked another. We can't, replied a third. The very act of communication would pull us back toward linear time. We've moved too far beyond that state. But they're trying to save their reality. Their reality is breaking down because they never learned to maintain it properly. We held it together unconsciously. Now they must learn to do it consciously, or accept the consequences. Veltar stepped forward. This is Captain Veltar of the Council Exploration Fleet. We need your help. The galaxy is dying without you. The voices paused. When they resumed, there was something that might have been sadness in the harmonies. Captain Veltar, we know who you are. We've been watching your search through dimensions we can no longer fully remember. Then you know why we're here. Come back Help us fix what's broken. We can't come back. Do you understand what we are now? We exist in all possible timelines simultaneously. We observe every moment that has ever been or could ever be. We are the watchers at the edge of reality itself. To return to your single timeline would be like asking an ocean to flow through a straw. Dr. Kessetol pushed forward. But you were human once. You must remember what that was like. The laughter that followed was vast and hollow. We remember everything, Doctor. Every human who ever lived, every choice ever made, every path ever taken. We remember the universe where humanity stayed and fought the Vrex. We remember the reality where we joined different galactic civilizations. We remember timelines where Earth never developed life at all. Then you remember why you left, Veltar said. The Council's betrayal. The lives lost. Can't you forgive us? Forgiveness? The voices seemed puzzled by the concept. Captain, forgiveness requires linear time. It requires a past to forgive and a future to move toward. We exist in all moments, simultaneously. From our perspective, the betrayal is happening now, has already been forgiven, and never occurred at all. These concepts have no meaning for what we have become. The transmission began to fade. Wait, Veltar called out. If you can't return, then tell us how to fix this ourselves. The temporal collapse is accelerating. Our reality is dying. Look deeper, the voices whispered as they faded. Look in the places where your reality borders ours. We left you more than instructions, Captain. We left you hope. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Dr. Yilmoth, Veltar said finally. What did they mean? What places border their reality and ours? The scientist was already working at his console. Captain, I'm detecting massive structures at the edge of the temporal anomaly zone. They're artificial. And they're positioned at precise points around the expanding breakdown. The main screen showed a three-dimensional map of local space. Red marked the areas where causality had failed. And surrounding those areas, at mathematically precise intervals, were structures that defied classification. Part machine, part mathematics, part something that existed only in the spaces between dimensions. They're stabilizers, Dr. Kessetol breathed. Humanity built dimensional anchors. They're not just trying to fix the breakdown. They're containing it. More than that, Dr. Yilmoth added, his voice filled with wonder. Look at the power sources. These aren't running on conventional energy. They're being powered by consciousness itself, by minds that can perceive multiple timelines simultaneously. Veltar felt a chill run through her body. You mean... I mean, some of humanity didn't fully transcend. Some of them stayed behind, existing partially in our reality and partially in theirs. They're using their transformed consciousness to hold our timeline stable while we figure out how to do it ourselves. The captain stared at the display. Dozens of points of light surrounded the chaos zone, each one representing a human mind stretched across dimensions, sacrificing its transcendence to give the galaxy time to learn. How long can they maintain this? Unknown. But, Captain, there's something else. Each stabilizer is also a beacon. They're broadcasting the consciousness modification, techniques that Dr. Zixhai discovered, teaching other species how to experience linear time the way humans did. And if we learn, then maybe we can take over the job. Maybe we can let the remaining humans complete their transformation and finally find peace. Veltar looked around her bridge crew, representatives of 6 different species, all working together for the first time in galactic history. The crisis had done what centuries of politics never could. It had forced them to truly cooperate. "Set course for the nearest stabilizer," she ordered. "It's time we learned what humanity tried to teach us all along." As the ship turned toward the beacon, the communications officer picked up one last transmission. Faint and distant, but unmistakably human. "We're still here, Captain. We're still trying to help. We always will be. Learn quickly, learn well. And remember, the universe doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be loved." The message faded, but the hope it carried remained. The great assembly hall of Council Prime had never seen anything like this. Representatives from every species in the galaxy floated, sat, or stood in their designated areas, but for the first time in galactic history, they were not divided by politics or territorial disputes. They were united by terror. High Counselor Vextai looked out at the gathering and felt the weight of failure crushing down on her. 3 of her eyes focused on the holographic display at the center of the hall, showing the galaxy in real time. The red zones marking temporal collapse now covered 1/3 of known space. Entire star systems flickered between existence and void. Trade routes that had operated for millennia simply stopped working when cause and effect became negotiable. "The situation is beyond critical," she announced, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast hall. "The temporal cascade has reached the core worlds. Yesterday, the Altarian home system reported that their sun both existed and didn't exist, simultaneously for 6 hours. The Keth-Tul Empire has lost contact with 40% of their colonies, not because the colonies were destroyed, but because history can no longer agree that they were ever colonized." A representative from the Vrex Imperium rose to speak. Admiral Krextor, one of the few Vrex leaders who had survived the chaos in their territories. "High Counselor, my people demand to know how the Council will fix this. Our conquests in human space have become impossible to maintain. Our fleets arrive to invade worlds they've already conquered, only to find they never conquered them at all. Your people," called out Ambassador Thysiali from the Cetacean Alliance, "brought this upon themselves when they accepted human colonies as payment for peace. The breakdown began in your territories because you were occupying space that was fundamentally dependent on human consciousness to maintain stability." The Vrex Admiral's claws extended. "Are you suggesting we should have refused the Council's offer?" "I'm suggesting," Thysiali replied coldly, "that none of us understood what we were giving up when we betrayed humanity." The hall erupted in arguments. Accusations flew between species. The Altarians blamed the Vrex for triggering the cascade. The Keth-Tul blamed the Council for making the deal. The smaller species blamed everyone for putting them at risk. High Counselor Vextai activated the hall's silence field, cutting off all sound except her own voice. "Enough. Blame will not solve this crisis. We need solutions." Dr. Zixhai rose. From the Scientific Advisory Section. "High Counselor, I believe we have a solution, but it will require something the Council has never attempted before." "Speak." Zixhai manipulated her controls, and the central display changed to show the consciousness modification techniques that humanity had left behind. For the past 2 years, teams across the galaxy have been studying the stabilizer beacons that humanity left around the collapse zones. We now understand how they work. The display showed complex neural patterns, the way human consciousness processed time differently from other species. Humans experience time as a linear sequence, past, present, future, each building on the last. Most of our species experience time as a more fluid concept, able to perceive multiple possibilities simultaneously. But the universe seems to require linear observers to maintain causal stability. "What are you proposing?" asked the Vrex Admiral. "Consciousness modification. If we can train our minds to process time the way humans did, we can take over the job of maintaining timeline stability. But it can't be just a few individuals. It has to be a coordinated effort across multiple species." The hall fell silent. What she was suggesting was unprecedented, not just cooperation between species, but actual mental integration, sharing consciousness across the galaxy. Captain Veltar stood up in the exploration section. "High Counselor, I've seen the stabilizers firsthand. There are still humans there, holding our reality together while we learn. They're sacrificing their transcendence to give us time. We can't let that sacrifice be meaningless." "How would this work?" asked Ambassador Thaisali. Dr. Zixhai brought up new displays. "We establish consciousness networks across the galaxy. Groups of minds from different species, all trained to experience linear time, all working together to maintain causal stability in their local regions, like a vast neural network with the galaxy as its body." "The mathematics are complex," added Dr. Kestol, "but workable. Each network would need representatives from at least 5 different species to provide sufficient consciousness diversity, and the networks would need to be in constant communication to coordinate timeline maintenance." The Vrex Admiral's voice was skeptical. "You're asking us to link our minds with other species, to share thoughts, memories, experiences. My people will never agree to this." "Your people," said Captain Veltar quietly, "are already dying when reality forgets they exist. This isn't about what we want anymore. It's about survival." High Counselor Vextai studied the data. "Dr. Zixhai, what are the risks?" "Unknown," the researcher admitted. "This has never been attempted before. We could lose individual identity in the network. We could experience temporal feedback that damages consciousness itself. Or we could discover that some species' minds are simply incompatible with linear time processing. And if we don't try, the cascade will reach Council Prime within 6 months. At that point, even the core worlds will begin to forget their own history. The galactic government will collapse not because it's defeated, but because reality will be unable to maintain the concept of government itself." The hall was quiet for a long moment. Then, unexpectedly, Admiral Krextor spoke. "My fleets are trapped in territories that exist and don't exist simultaneously. My soldiers are fighting battles that unhappen as they fight them. If this consciousness network can fix that, the Vrex Empire agrees to participate." One by one, other representatives stood. The Altarians, desperate to save their flickering sun. The Kethtul, wanting to reconnect with their lost colonies. The Cetacean Alliance, driven by scientific curiosity. Even the smallest species, who had the most to lose, but also the most to gain from galactic stability. "Then it's decided," High Counselor Vextai said. "We implement the temporal accord. All species will contribute minds to the consciousness networks. All species will learn to experience time as humanity did. And all species will share the burden of holding reality together." The work began immediately. Scientists from dozens of worlds collaborated on consciousness modification techniques. Engineers designed the quantum communication networks that would link minds across the galaxy. Philosophers and psychologists worked together to understand how different species could merge their thoughts without losing their individual identities. The first test network came online 3 months later. 23 individuals from 7 different species, their consciousness linked and trained to experience linear time. They were assigned a single star system on the edge of the collapse zone. For 6 hours, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the temporal distortions in that system began to stabilize. Cause and effect reasserted themselves. The planets remembered their proper orbits. The star recalled how to burn steadily. "It's working," Dr. Zixhai reported to the Council. "The network is successfully maintaining timeline stability in the test region." More networks came online. Hundreds, then thousands of linked minds, all working together to hold the galaxy's timeline steady. Species that had been enemies for centuries found themselves sharing thoughts, memories, and dreams. The Vrex learned to appreciate Altarian poetry. The cetaceans shared their deep ocean songs with desert-dwelling Kethtul. The barriers between species began to dissolve, and slowly the red zones on the galactic map began to turn green again. The stabilization wasn't without cost. Many individuals who joined the networks found their sense of self fundamentally changed. They thought in concepts that spanned multiple species' perspectives. They experienced time not just linearly, but with the weight of cosmic responsibility. They became something new. Not quite their original species, but not quite human either. But they also became something wonderful. For the first time in galactic history, species were truly united. Not by politics or treaties, but by shared consciousness itself. On the day the last collapse zone stabilized, a message appeared simultaneously in every consciousness network across the galaxy. It came from the stabilizer beacons, from the humans who had been holding reality together while the galaxy learned. "You did it," the message said, carried in harmonies that spanned dimensions. "You learned to work together. You learned to hold time steady through will and cooperation and love. The universe is safe in your hands now." The beacons began to power down one by one. The humans who had sacrificed their transcendence to buy the galaxy time were finally free to complete their transformation. "Thank you," came one last message, fading as the final beacon went dark. "We always believed you could learn to be better than you were. Now you've proven it. Take care of what we built together. Take care of each other." High Counselor Vextai stood in her office, looking out at stars that burned steady and true. The galaxy was stable again. Different than before, bound together by consciousness networks that made war nearly impossible and cooperation natural. It wasn't the galaxy that humanity had left, but it was the galaxy that humanity had hoped they could become. She touched a control on her desk, opening a communication channel to all the consciousness networks. "This is High Counselor Vextai, speaking to all network participants. Today marks the first anniversary of the completion of the Temporal Accord. The galaxy is stable. Reality holds together through our shared will and consciousness. But let us never forget the species that made this possible." She paused, looking up at the stars. "Humanity taught us that consciousness shapes reality, that cooperation is stronger than competition, that even in betrayal and loss, hope can survive. They gave us the tools to save ourselves even after we abandoned them. In their honor, I propose that today be declared Consciousness Day throughout the galaxy, a day to remember what we learned from humanity, and to recommit ourselves to the cooperation that keeps our reality stable. Across the galaxy, in thousands of consciousness networks, billions of linked minds agreed. The motion passed unanimously, as all motions did now when beings shared thoughts as well as words. And in the quantum foam between dimensions, in spaces, that existed beyond normal time, humanity felt the galaxy's gratitude and smiled with satisfaction. They had left their reality in good hands. The galaxy had finally learned to hold itself together, not through force or politics, but through the simple human truth that consciousness shared is consciousness strengthened. And that was enough. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the window of the Earth Defense Station. She watched space with tired eyes. It was just another normal day until the alarm started screaming. "Commander!" Lieutenant Rodriguez called out. His voice was full of fear. "You need to see this right now." Sarah turned around. The main screen showed something that made her heart stop. Ships. Thousands and thousands of alien ships were coming out of empty space around Earth. They were huge. Each one was bigger than anything humans had ever built. "How many?" Sarah asked. Her voice stayed calm, but inside she was scared. "We count over 5,000 ships, Commander. Maybe more. They just keep coming." The ships were not like anything from Earth. Some looked like giant crystals that caught the light from the sun. Others were dark metal that seemed to eat light. Some ships looked like living things with wings and tentacles. They all moved together like they had done this many times before. Sarah had been a soldier for 20 years. She had seen wars. She had seen death. But she had never seen anything like this. These ships could destroy Earth in minutes if they wanted to. "Sir," another officer said, "they are sending us a message." "Put it on screen." The face that appeared was not human. It had blue skin that looked like crystal. Its eyes were silver and cold. When it spoke, its voice came from everywhere at once. "I am Ambassador Zexathara of the Veltar people. I speak for the Galactic Confederation. We have come to talk to the humans of Earth." Sarah stepped forward. "This is Commander Sarah Chen. Of Earth Defense, what do you want?" "We want to save your people from themselves," the alien said. "And we want to save the galaxy from your people." "I don't understand." The alien's face did not change. "You will. We are sending a shuttle to your station. Do not try to stop it. Do not try to attack it. Your weapons cannot hurt us." The screen went dark. Sarah looked around the command room. Everyone was staring at her. They wanted her to tell them what to do. But she did not know what to do. "Commander," Lieutenant Rodriguez said, "should we call Earth? Should we tell them?" "Yes. Call the president. Call everyone. Tell them we have visitors." 30 minutes later, a small alien ship came close to the station. It was beautiful and scary at the same time. The ship had no engines that Sarah could see, but it moved like it was floating on water. "They are asking to come inside," Rodriguez said. "Let them dock, but keep all weapons ready." "Commander, our weapons are just—" "I know, but we have to try something." The alien shuttle attached to the station without making any sound. Sarah walked to the docking bay with 6 soldiers. They all had guns, but Sarah knew the guns would not help them. The door opened. 3 aliens walked out. The one in front was Zexathara. She was tall and thin. Her skin really did look like blue crystal. She moved like she was dancing, but her eyes were cold as ice. The other 2 aliens were different. One looked like a giant, spider made of metal. The other had green fur and too many arms. "Commander Chen," Zexathara said, "thank you for meeting us. You didn't give us much choice." "No, we did not." The alien looked around the docking bay. "Your station is very simple. It works for us." "Yes. Humans are good at making simple things work. That is part of your problem. Sarah felt angry. What problem? Zexathara walked closer. When she moved, she made a sound like wind chimes. You are dangerous. Your whole species is dangerous. You fight each other. You destroy your own world. You make weapons instead of art. You kill instead of create. We also make beautiful things. We help each other. We explore. We learn. Yes. That makes you even more dangerous. The alien stopped, walking. In 3,000 years, you will be strong enough to leave your star system. In 5,000 years, you will be able to travel between stars easily. In 10,000 years, you will be a threat to every living thing in the galaxy. Sarah felt cold. How do you know this? Because we have watched you. We have watched you for 800 years. We have seen every war, every bomb, every time you almost destroyed yourselves, and yet you keep growing stronger. The spider alien made a noise like breaking glass. Zexathara nodded. My friend Clicktar says you want to know why we care. We care because we have seen this before. There was another species like you. They were called the Hrektar. They were smart. They were strong. They were curious like you. What happened to them? We had to stop them. They would not listen. They would not change. So we stopped them forever. Sarah's hand moved toward her gun. The spider alien made another noise. Suddenly, Sarah could not move her arm. Do not try to threaten us, Commander. We do not want to hurt you. We want to help you. This is helping? Yes. We are here to give your people a choice. You can live, your species can continue, but you must accept our rules. What rules? Zexathara walked to the window. She looked out at Earth. The blue and green planet looked small next to all the alien ships. You will move to 3 worlds we have chosen for you. Good worlds with clean air and water. You will live there in peace. We will take care of you. We will give you food, medicine, everything you need. And if we say no, then you will die. All of you. Your planet will become empty. We will make sure no trace of humans remains. Sarah felt sick. You would kill everyone? All 8 billion people? If we must. We have done it before. The green alien with many arms spoke for the first time. Its voice sounded like singing, but the words were terrible. The Confederation has brought peace to the galaxy for 50,000 years. We will not let one species destroy that peace. How many? Sarah asked. How many what? How many species have you killed? Zexathara was quiet for a long time. 17 species chose to die rather than live in peace. We hope humans are smarter. Sarah looked at the 3 aliens. They were not evil. They really believed they were. Doing the right thing. That made them even more dangerous. How long do we have to decide? 48 hours. Your leaders will receive our message soon. They will call you. They will ask you many questions. Tell them the truth. Tell them we are not lying. Tell them we are not bluffing. The aliens walked back to their ship. Before the door closed, Zexathara turned around. Commander Chen, I hope your people choose life. I have studied humans for many years. I find you interesting. It would be sad to lose you. And if we choose to fight, then you will lose. And you will die. But you will die free. Some species think that is worth something. The door closed. The alien ship left the station and went back to the fleet. Sarah stood in the empty docking bay for a long time. Then she walked back to the command room. "Rodriguez, get me the president. Get me everyone. We need to talk." Outside the window, thousands of alien ships waited around, Earth like wolves around a campfire. And Earth had 48 hours to decide if they would live as pets or die as humans. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the window of the Earth Defense Station. She watched space with tired eyes. It was just another normal day until the alarm started screaming. "Commander!" Lieutenant Rodriguez called out. His voice was full of fear. "You need to see this right now." Sarah turned around. The main screen showed something that made her heart stop. Ships. Thousands and thousands of alien ships were coming out of empty space around Earth. They were huge. Each one was bigger than anything humans had ever built. "How many?" Sarah asked. Her voice stayed calm, but inside she was scared. "We count over 5,000 ships, Commander. Maybe more. They just keep coming." The ships were not like anything from Earth. Some looked like giant crystals that caught the light from the sun. Others were dark metal that seemed to eat light. Some ships looked like living things with wings and tentacles. They all moved together like they had done this many times before. Sarah had been a soldier for 20 years. She had seen wars. She had seen death. But she had never seen anything like this. These ships could destroy Earth in minutes if they wanted to. "Sir," another officer said, "they are sending us a message. Put it on screen." The face that appeared was not human. It had blue skin that looked like crystal. Its eyes were silver and cold. When it spoke, its voice came from everywhere at once. "I am Ambassador Zex Thara of the Veltar people. I speak for the Galactic Confederation. We have come to talk to the humans of Earth." Sarah stepped forward. "This is Commander Sarah Chen of Earth Defense." "What do you want?" "We want to save your people from themselves," the alien said. "And we want to save the galaxy from your people." "I don't understand." The alien's face did not change. "You will. We are sending a shuttle to your station. Do not try to stop it. Do not try to attack it. Your weapons cannot hurt us." The screen went dark. Sarah looked around the command room. Everyone was staring at her. They wanted her to tell them what to do, but she did not know what to do. "Commander," Lieutenant Rodriguez said, "should we call Earth? Should we tell them?" "Yes." "Call the president. Call everyone. Tell them we have visitors." 30 minutes later, a small alien ship came close to the station. It was beautiful and scary at the same time. The ship had no engines that Sarah could see, but it moved like it was floating on water. "They are asking to come inside," Rodriguez said. "Let them dock. But keep all weapons ready. Commander, our weapons are just—" "I know, but we have to try something." The alien shuttle attached to the station without making any sound. Sarah walked to the docking bay with 6 soldiers. They all had guns, but Sarah knew the guns would not help them. The door opened. 3 aliens walked out. The one in front was Zexathara. She was tall and thin. Her skin really did look like blue crystal. She moved like she was dancing, but her eyes were cold as ice. The other 2 aliens were different. One looked like a giant spider made of metal. The other had green fur and too many arms. "Commander Chen," Zexathara said, "thank you for meeting us. You didn't give us much choice." "No, we did not." The alien looked around the docking bay. "Your station is very simple." "It works for us." "Yes. Humans are good at making simple things work. That is part of your problem." Sarah felt angry. "What problem?" Zexathara walked closer. When she moved, she made a sound like wind chimes. You are dangerous. Your whole species is dangerous. You fight each other. You destroy your own world. You make weapons instead of art. You kill instead of create. We also make beautiful things. We help each other. We explore. We learn. Yes, that makes you even more dangerous. The alien stopped, walking. In 3,000 years, you will be strong enough to leave your star system. In 5,000 years, you will be able to travel between stars easily. In 10,000 years, you will be a threat to every living thing in the galaxy. Sarah felt cold. How do you know this? Because we have watched you. We have watched you for 800 years. We have seen every war, every bomb, every time you almost destroyed yourselves, and yet you keep growing stronger. The spider alien made a noise like breaking glass. Zexthera nodded. My friend Clicktar says you want to know why we care. We care because we have seen this before. There was another species like you. They were called the Hrektar. They were smart. They were strong. They were curious like you. What happened to them? We had to stop them. They would not listen. They would not change. So we stopped them forever. Sarah's hand moved toward her gun. The spider alien made another noise. Suddenly, Sarah could not move her arm. Do not try to threaten us, Commander. We do not want to hurt you. We want to help you. This is helping? Yes. We are here to give your people a choice. You can live. Your species can continue. But you must accept our rules. What rules? Zexthera walked to the window. She looked out at Earth. The blue and green planet looked small next to all the alien ships. You will move to 3 worlds we have chosen for you. Good worlds with clean air and water. You will live there in peace. We will take care of you. We will give you food, medicine, everything you need. And if we say no, then you will die. All of you. Your planet will become empty. We will make sure no trace of humans remains. Sarah felt sick. You would kill everyone? All 8 billion people? If we must. We have done it before. The green alien with many arms spoke for the first time. Its voice sounded like singing, but the words were terrible. The Confederation has brought peace to the galaxy for 50,000 years. We will not let one species destroy that peace. How many? Sarah asked. How many what? How many species have you killed? Zexthera was quiet for a long time. 17 species chose to die rather than live in peace. We hope humans are smarter. Sarah looked at the 3 aliens. They were not evil. They really believed they were doing the right thing. That made them even more dangerous. How long do we have to decide? 48 hours. Your leaders will receive our message soon. They will call you. They will ask you many questions. Tell them the truth. Tell them we are not lying. Tell them we are not bluffing. The aliens walked back to their ship. Before the door closed, Zexthera turned around. Commander Chen, I hope your people choose life. I have studied humans for many years. I find you interesting. It would be sad to lose you. And if we choose to fight, then you will lose, and you will die. But you will die free. Some species think that is worth something. The door closed. The alien ship left the station and went back to the fleet. Sarah stood in the empty docking bay for a long time. Then she walked back to the command room. Rodriguez, get me the president. Get me everyone. We need to talk. Outside the window, thousands of alien ships waited around. Earth like wolves around a campfire. and Earth had 48 hours to decide if they would live as pets or die as humans. The elevator went down for a very long time. President Martinez had never been this deep under the earth before. General Webb stood next to her without saying anything. Dr. Vasquez counted the floors as they passed. 20 floors. 50 floors. 100 floors! Where are we going? The president asked. To a place that was built for a day like this, General Webb said. The elevator finally stopped. The doors opened to show a huge room cut into solid rock. The ceiling was so high that lights disappeared into darkness above them. Hundreds of people worked at computers and machines that the president had never seen before. "Welcome to Deep Base 1, General Webb said. "This is where we have been getting ready." Getting ready for what? For the day when Earth would have to fight for its life. A woman in a lab coat walked over to them. She was young, but her eyes looked old and tired. "This is Dr. James Park," General Webb said. "He runs our special projects." Dr. Park shook hands with the president. "Ma'am, I wish we were meeting in better times. Dr. Park, what is this place? This is where we build things that don't officially exist, things that other countries don't know about, things that Congress doesn't know about." The president felt worried. "Are you talking about secret weapons?" "Yes and no," Dr. Park said. "Follow me." They walked through the huge room. The president saw things that looked like science fiction. Machines that hummed with power. Computers that talked to each other in lights and sounds. Workers who moved like they were doing a dance they had practiced many times. "Madam President," Dr. Park said, "what do you think makes humans different from other animals?" "We are smarter. We can think about the future." "Yes. But there is something else. We never give up. When a tiger is trapped, it tries to escape. When a human is trapped, we try to escape. But if we can't escape, we try to hurt whoever trapped us." They stopped at a big window. Outside the window was another huge room. Inside that room were objects that made the president's heart beat faster. "Those are nuclear bombs," she said. "Yes, but not normal nuclear bombs. These are special. We call them spite bombs." "Why?" General Webb answered. "Because they are not meant to win a war. They are meant to make the enemy sorry they started the war." Dr. Park pointed to the bombs. "Each one is 100 times stronger than the bombs we dropped in World War II, but that is not what makes them special." "What makes them special?" "They don't just explode. They spread poison that lasts for 1,000 years. They make the ground so dirty that nothing can live there. They turn planets into dead rocks." The president stepped back from the window. "That's horrible." "Yes," Dr. Park said. "That's the point. If someone tries to take Earth from us, we can make sure they get a dead planet instead of a living one." Dr. Vasquez was looking at the bombs with wide eyes. "How many do you have?" "Enough," General Webb said. They walked to another part of the base. Here, Captain Maria Santos was working with a team of engineers. She was a small woman with quick hands and a fast mind. "Captain Santos," General Webb said, "show the president what you have been building." Captain Santos smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "Ma'am, come look at this." She led them to a room full of screens and maps. The screens showed space around Earth. But there were things on the maps that the president had never seen before. "These are our hidden stations," Captain Santos said. "We have been building them for 20 years. The aliens think they know about all our weapons. They are wrong. Where are they? Everywhere. Inside asteroids. On the dark side of the moon. In the gas clouds around Jupiter. Places where no one would think to look." Dr. Vasquez was studying the maps. "How many stations?" 200, Captain Santos said. Each one has weapons that can hurt the alien ships. But I thought our weapons couldn't hurt them. Our normal weapons can't, but these are not normal. Captain Santos pressed a button. The screen showed a picture of space near Mars. Something was floating there that looked like a piece of rock. "Watch," she said. The rock suddenly opened like a flower. Inside was a weapon that looked like a giant gun. Fire shot out of it and hit a target that was very far away. The target disappeared in a flash of light. "What was that?" the president asked. "A rail gun," Dr. Park said. "It shoots pieces of metal very, very fast. Fast enough to punch through alien shields." "How fast?" 1/10 the speed of light. The president felt dizzy. "I thought that was impossible." "We thought so too, until we built it." General Webb took them to another room. Here, people were working on something that looked like a large metal egg. "This is our biggest secret," he said. "We call it the Ghost Protocol." "What does it do?" "It makes us invisible, not just to their eyes, invisible to everything. Their computers can't see us, their weapons can't target us. We can attack them and they won't know where the attack came from." Dr. Vasquez was asking questions. "How is this possible? How long have you been working on this?" 50 years, Dr. Park said. "Ever since we started thinking about what would happen if we met aliens. 50 years ago, we didn't even have computers. We had smart people, and we had time." The president was trying to understand everything she was seeing. "So you are telling me we can fight the aliens?" "We can hurt them," General Webb said. "We can make them bleed. We can make them pay a price for attacking Earth." "But can we win?" The room got quiet. Finally, Dr. Park spoke. "Probably not. They have 5,000 ships. We have 200 hidden weapons. They have been fighting wars for millions of years. We have been getting ready for 50 years. Then why fight at all?" "Because," Captain Santos said, "sometimes it's not about winning. Sometimes it's about making the other guy sorry he picked a fight with you." General Webb walked to a control panel. "Madam President, I want to show you one more thing." He pressed some buttons. All the screens in the room showed the same picture. It was Earth from space. But there were things around Earth that had not been there before. "We just turned on all our hidden defenses," he said. "Every secret weapon, every hidden station, everything we have built in 50 years. The president watched as hundreds of objects appeared around Earth like stars being born. Space stations that had been invisible, weapons that had been sleeping, ships that had been waiting. "The aliens don't know about any of this?" she asked. "Not yet. But they will soon. Our weapons are not as advanced as theirs. But we have been planning this fight for a very long time." Dr. Vasquez was looking at all the screens. "This is incredible. But, General, even with all this, how can we win?" "We can't win by being stronger than them," General Webb said. "But maybe we can win by being different from them." "What do you mean?" "They expect us to fight like they fight, with big ships and powerful weapons. But humans don't fight fair. We fight dirty. We fight mean. We fight like our lives depend on it." Captain Santos was smiling now, and this time it was a real smile. "Ma'am, the aliens have been watching us for 800 years. They think they know everything about us, but they have been watching us fight each other. They have never seen us fight together." The president looked around at all the people working in the base. They were scared, but they were not giving up. They were getting ready to fight an enemy that was much stronger than they were. "How long before the aliens find out about all this?" she asked. "Maybe hours, maybe minutes. Once we start moving our weapons, they will see us. And then? Then they will know that humans are not going to go quietly. The president made her decision. Do it. Turn on everything. Show them what we have. General Webb nodded. Yes, ma'am. But I want you to understand something. Once we do this, there is no going back. The aliens will know we are going to fight. They might attack us right away. I understand. And we might lose everything. We might lose everything anyway. General Webb pressed a red button. All over the solar system, hidden weapons came to life. Secret bases turned on their lights. Ships that had been sleeping for years started their engines. High above them, the alien ships suddenly detected things they had not seen before. Thousands of new objects appeared on their screens. The humans had been hiding an army. Ambassador Zexathara looked at her screens and felt something she had not felt in a very long time. Surprise. Interesting, she said to her officers. It seems humans have been busy while we were watching them. On Earth, President Martinez watched as humanity revealed its hidden hand. They were still outgunned. They were still outmatched. But they were no longer helpless. The real fight was about to begin. The message went out to every human on Earth and in space at the same time. President Martinez spoke from the underground base, and her words reached 8 billion people. My fellow humans, she said, today we face a choice. We can live as prisoners, on worlds chosen by others. Or we can fight for the right to choose our own future. I have seen what we have built in secret. I have seen what we can do when we work together. Today, we choose to fight. All around the world, people stopped what they were doing and listened. In New York, workers in tall buildings looked up at the alien ships above them. In Tokyo, families held each other close. In London, children asked their parents what was happening. But something strange began to happen. Instead of running and hiding, people began to come outside. They looked up at the alien ships, and they were not afraid anymore. They were angry. On the space station, Commander Sarah Chen got the president's message. She looked around at her crew. Lieutenant Rodriguez was scared, but he was also ready. The other officers were checking their weapons and putting on their armor. Commander, Rodriguez said, what are your orders? Sarah looked out at the alien fleet. 5,000 ships that could destroy Earth in minutes. But Earth was not going. To make it easy for them, we are going to ram their biggest ship, she said. Ma'am, you heard me. We are going to fly this station right into their command ship. Maybe it won't hurt them much, but it will show them that humans don't surrender. The crew looked at each other. They all knew this was suicide. But they all nodded. Yes, ma'am, Rodriguez said. Let's show them what humans are made of. The space station began to move toward the alien fleet. It was not fast, it was not pretty, but it was coming, and everyone could see it. On the alien command ship, Ambassador Zexathara watched the human station approach. Why are they doing this? She asked her officers. They must know they cannot hurt us. The spider alien Click-Tar made clicking sounds. Perhaps they are trying to show us something. Show us what? That they would rather die than surrender? Zexathara felt confused. In all her years, she had never seen anything like this. The human station was moving straight toward them. The humans inside knew they were going to die, but they kept coming anyway. On Earth, something even stranger was happening. When people heard that Commander Chen was going to sacrifice herself and her crew, they began to do the same thing. In China, a group of pilots took their fighter jets and flew them straight at the alien ships above Beijing. The jets could not hurt the aliens, but the pilots flew them anyway. In Russia, soldiers fired their missiles at the alien ships, even though they knew the missiles would not work. In Brazil, people stood on the roofs of buildings and threw rocks at the aliens. It made no sense. The humans could not win. They could not even hurt the aliens, but they kept fighting anyway. Dr. Vasquez was watching this from the underground base. "General Webb," she said, "I think I understand what is happening." "What?" "The aliens are used to fighting logical enemies, enemies who try to win. But humans are not trying to win. They are trying to show that they cannot be broken." General Webb was watching the screens, too. "You think that matters?" "I think it's the only thing that matters." High above Earth, the alien fleet was having problems. Every time they tried to move closer to a city, humans would attack them. The attacks did not hurt the aliens, but they never stopped. "Sir," one alien officer said to Zexathara, "the humans have activated more weapons, hidden weapons all over their solar system." "How many?" "Hundreds, maybe thousands. They have been planning this for a very long time." Zexathara looked at the screens. Human weapons were turning on everywhere. Most of them were simple by galactic standards. But there were so many of them. Attack. "The weapons," she ordered. "Which ones?" "All of them." The alien ships began to fire at the human weapons. Their energy beams could destroy anything humans had built. But as soon as they destroyed one weapon, two more would appear. It was like fighting a swarm of angry insects. On the human space station, Commander Chen watched her home get smaller as they flew toward the alien ship. "Rodriguez, how long until impact?" 10 minutes, Commander." "Good. Send a message to all human forces. Tell them we are not afraid." "What message should I send?" Sarah thought for a moment. "Tell them this. We may not win today, but we will never surrender. And we will never stop fighting." The message went out to every human weapon platform, every hidden base, every secret ship. And one by one, they all began to move toward the alien fleet. It was the strangest battle in the history of the galaxy. The humans had no chance of winning. Their weapons were too weak, their ships were too slow, but they kept coming anyway. Captain Santos was in one of the hidden asteroid bases. She watched as alien ships destroyed her friends' bases one by one. But she kept firing her railgun at the aliens. "Captain," one of her crew said, "we should retreat. We can't win this fight." "Are not trying to win," Santos said. "We are trying to make them remember us." She fired her railgun again. The metal bullet traveled at incredible speed and hit an alien ship. For the first time, an alien shield flickered and almost failed. All across the alien fleet, officers began reporting the same thing. The human weapons were weak, but there were so many of them, and the humans would not stop attacking. "Sir," an alien officer said to Zexathara, "the humans are doing something we have never seen before." "What?" "They are all attacking at once. Every weapon, every ship, every person. They are fighting like they are one giant organism." Zexathara watched the battle and felt something she had not felt in thousands of years. Uncertainty. The Confederation had fought many young species. Some had surrendered quickly. Others had fought for a while before giving up. But none had ever fought like this. The humans were not trying to destroy the alien fleet. They were trying to prove that they could not be destroyed. Commander Chen's space station was almost at the alien command ship. 30 seconds to impact," Rodriguez said. "Everyone ready?" "Yes, ma'am." Sarah looked out the window one last time. Earth was far away now, but she could still see it, blue and green and beautiful. Home. This is for everyone who will never get To see the stars, she said. The space station hit the alien command ship at full speed. The impact was huge. The alien ship shook, and its shields failed for a moment. The space station was destroyed completely. But it had done something important. It had shown the aliens that humans could hurt them. All across the alien fleet, ships began reporting damage. Not much damage, but some damage. The human weapons were finally starting to work. But more important than the damage was something else. The aliens were starting to feel something they had not felt in a very long time. Fear. Not fear of losing. The battle. They were still much stronger than the humans, but fear of what the humans represented, an enemy that would never stop fighting. An enemy that would rather die than surrender. An enemy that turned every battle into a war and every war into a nightmare. Zexthara looked at the reports coming in from all over the fleet. Hundreds of human weapons attacking from every direction. Thousands of humans willing to die just to prove a point. Status report, she ordered. Minimal damage to our ships, an officer reported. But the humans are not slowing down. If anything, they are attacking faster. How is that possible? We have destroyed most of their weapons. They keep building new ones, and they keep finding new ways to attack us. Zexthara realized something that made her feel cold inside. The humans were not fighting to win. They were fighting to make sure that even if the aliens won, they would remember this day forever, and they were succeeding. The battle had been going on for 6 hours. The alien fleet was still strong, but something was changing. For the first time in thousands of years, they were not winning easily. Ambassador Zexthara stood on the bridge of her command ship and watched the reports come in. Her fleet had destroyed most of the human weapons, but humans kept building new ones. They used pieces of broken ships to make bombs. They turned their space stations into missiles. They even threw rocks with small engines attached to them. "This is impossible," said her second officer, a tall alien with golden skin. "How can they keep fighting? We have destroyed their best weapons." "Because," Zexthara said slowly, "they are not fighting with weapons. They are fighting with something else." On Earth, Dr. Vasquez was watching the battle from the underground base. She had been studying the alien communications, and she had discovered something important. "General Webb," she said, "I need to tell you something. The aliens are talking to each other, and they sound confused." "Confused about what?" "About us. They keep asking each other why we won't surrender. They say we are acting in a way they have never seen before." General Webb looked at the screens showing the battle. Human weapons were being destroyed one by one, but new ones kept appearing. "How many weapons do we have left?" "Maybe 50. But that's not the important part." "What is?" "The important part is that every alien ship in their fleet is now focused on fighting us. They are not thinking about anything else, and that is making them ask questions." President Martinez was listening to radio signals from around the world. People everywhere were doing the same thing. They were fighting back against the aliens, even when they had no weapons that could hurt them. In Australia, farmers were using their tractors to spell out messages that said, "Go home," in letters big enough to see from space. In Africa, children were singing songs that made fun of the aliens. In Europe, scientists were broadcasting insults at the alien ships in 100 different languages. It was not logical. It was not smart, but it was human. "Madam President," Dr. Vasquez said, "I want to try something. I want to send a message to the aliens." "What kind of message?" "A message that explains why we are fighting." "They already know why we are fighting. We don't want to be their prisoners." "No, ma'am. I don't think they understand at all." Dr. Vasquez walked to the communication console. I want to talk to all the aliens, not just their leader. Why? Because I think some of them are starting to remember something they lost a long time ago. The message went out on all frequencies. Dr. Vasquez spoke directly to every alien ship in the fleet. My name is Dr. Elena Vasquez. I am a human from the planet Earth. I want to tell you something that your leaders might not want you to hear. On alien ships throughout the fleet, officers stopped what they were doing and listened. You came here because you think we are dangerous. You think we will destroy things if we are allowed to grow strong. Maybe you are right. Maybe we would make mistakes. Maybe we would do bad things. Zexathera tried to cut off the transmission, but her own officers stopped her. They wanted to hear what the human had to say. But here is what you are missing. You have been safe for so long that you have forgotten what it means to be free. You have been controlled for so long that you have forgotten what it means to choose. On a ship near the back of the fleet, a young alien officer felt something strange in his chest. His species had joined the Confederation 5,000 years ago. He had never thought about what life was like before that. We know we might lose this fight, Dr. Vasquez continued. We know we might all die today, but we would rather die as free humans than live as prisoners. The golden-skinned alien officer on Zexathara's ship spoke quietly. When was the last time our people faced a choice like that? Zexathara did not answer. She was remembering something from long ago. Before the Confederation, before the peace, when her people were young and wild and free. You think you are saving the galaxy from us, Dr. Vasquez said. But what if you are wrong? What if the galaxy needs people who are willing to fight for freedom? What if the galaxy needs people who refuse to give up? On ships throughout the alien fleet, officers were asking questions they had not asked in centuries. Questions about freedom, questions about choice, questions about what it meant to be alive. The spider alien Clicktar made clicking sounds that meant confusion. The humans are making us think about things we have not thought about for a long time. That is exactly the problem, Zexathara said. That is why they are dangerous. But even as she said it, she was not sure she believed it anymore. Captain Santos was still alive in her asteroid base. Most of her weapons were destroyed, but she kept fighting with whatever she had left. She used mining equipment to throw rocks at the alien ships. The rocks could not hurt the aliens, but they kept coming anyway. An alien ship approached her base. Instead of destroying it, the ship just sat there and watched. Captain, one of her crew said, why aren't they attacking us? I don't know, Santos said. Maybe they are trying to understand something. She was right. On the alien ship, the crew was watching the humans fight with mining equipment and feeling something they had never felt before. Respect. Dr. Vasquez was still broadcasting. I know some of you are listening. I know some of you are thinking about what I am saying. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you chose to do something dangerous because it was right? The young alien officer in the back of the fleet spoke to his captain. Sir, I want to ask you something. Do you remember what our home world was like before we joined the Confederation? His captain was quiet for a long time. I remember stories. Stories about adventures and explorations and great risks taken for great rewards. Do you miss those stories? I think I do. All across the alien fleet, similar conversations were happening. Aliens who had not thought about freedom for thousands of years were suddenly remembering what it felt like to choose their own path. Zexathara realized that something terrible was happening. The humans were not just fighting for their own freedom, they were making the aliens remember their own lost freedom. "Sir," her communications officer said, "we are getting reports from throughout the fleet. Some ships are asking questions about our mission." "What kind of questions?" "Questions about whether destroying the humans is really the right thing to do." Zexathara felt panic for the first time in centuries. The Confederation worked because everyone agreed that order was better than freedom. But the humans were making them remember that freedom had value too. "All ships," she broadcast, "remember your duty. Remember the peace we have built. Remember the chaos that came before." But her words felt empty. On ship after ship, alien crews were looking at the humans fighting impossible odds and asking themselves when they had last felt that kind of passion for anything. President Martinez was watching all of this happen from the underground base. "General Webb, are we winning?" "I don't know," he said. "But something is changing." Dr. Vasquez finished her broadcast with these words. "We are not asking you to become like us. We are asking you to remember what you used to be, before you chose safety over freedom, before you chose order over choice, before you forgot that some things are worth fighting for." The message ended. For a long moment, space was quiet except for the sound of human weapons still firing at alien ships. Then something happened that no one expected. One alien ship, far in the back of the fleet, turned around and started flying away from Earth. Then another ship did the same thing. Then another. Zexathara watched in horror as parts of her fleet began to break apart. Ships that had followed orders for thousands of years were suddenly choosing to leave. "Where are they going?" she demanded. "Home," her communications officer said. "They are going home to ask questions they have not asked in a very long time." The young alien officer who had started asking questions spoke to his captain one more time. "Sir, I want to see what our home world looks like now. I want to know if we can still choose to be free." His captain looked at the human planet below them. Humans were still fighting even though they could not win. They were fighting because they believed freedom was worth dying for. "Yes," the captain said. "I think I want to know that too." Their ship turned and flew away from Earth, toward home, and toward questions that might change everything. Ambassador Zexathara watched as half her fleet left the battle. The ships that remained were the ones whose crews had forgotten freedom so completely that they could not remember what it felt like. She looked at Earth, where humans were still fighting with whatever they could find. They had lost almost everything, but they had not lost the thing that mattered most. They had not lost their will to be free. "Recall all ships," she ordered. "Ma'am?" "I said recall all ships. We are leaving. But the humans have already won." As the alien fleet retreated from Earth, Zexathara sent one final message to the planet below. "Humans of Earth, you have shown us something we had forgotten. We thought we came here to save the galaxy from you, but perhaps you came here to save the galaxy from us." The fleet jumped into hyperspace and was gone. On Earth, people came out of their hiding places and looked up at the empty sky. They had survived. They were still free. But more importantly, they had reminded the galaxy that freedom was something worth fighting for, even when you could not win. And in the far reaches of space, alien worlds that had been peaceful for thousands of years began to ask dangerous questions about choice and freedom and what it really meant to be alive. The galaxy would never be the same.